Hi, my name is Florian Lauer, and I welcome you on a flight over the vineyards of our winery in Ayl on the Saar. The Saar Valley is a wine-growing district in the Mosel wine region. The vineyards in the Saar Valley are planted predominantly to Riesling, making wines that range from dry to sweet. The best vineyards are located on steep, south-facing slopes, where the wines are exposed to intense sunshine. At Weingut Pieterlauer, our growing area, are the mountains around the village of Ayl in the center of the valley. We start with the green bordered areas that are our village class wines. In the north, we begin with the Bibelhausener Sonnenberg. Uh, This is neighbored to the Saar for perhaps 30 years, because this here is an artificial channel. And this channel helped the slope to less damage from late frost. 100% exposed to the west, the Sonnenberg absorbs the evening sun. Here grows, for example, the exotic and fruity barrel number 4, our off-dry village Riesling. In contrast to that slope, two east-facing locations called the Eiler Rauberg here and the Eiler Scheiterberg here are facing the morning sun. In the case of the Rauberg here, cool winds are falling down through this lane into the village and ensuring the mineral freshness of our village class Riesling number barrel 25. The Scheiterberg below is characterized by its clearly visible S shape, like this. Two sides are exposed to the east, here and here, and the hot center is inclined to the south and delivers very high quality grapes that are almost Grand Cru class. From here we approach the historically youngest section of the famous Grand Cru Ayler Cup, the southeast exposed tail of the slope. Our Barrel X grows here on old wines. It's a dry tasting Riesling with fine fruit. My grandfather loved this wine, and so we gave it the name FX Senior. A few degrees further to the south exposition, the Grand Cru Cairn follows. Quite a famous wine if you like off-dry German Riesling. This wine has been voted best Riesling off-dry in Germany 3 times in the past few years. Incidentally, the name Cairn is not a geographical name, but the family name of the vineyard owner and large cigar manufacturer who had this piece of land around 1900. The Neuenberg is historically among the most important of all of the various parcels of the Ayler Cup. On the tax map from 1832, Neuberg was the only name mentioned in whole Ayl. Directly below the Neuenberg are wet fields which create cool and damp haze around the vines. A positive botrytis is frequently seen here. Due to the hot afternoon sun, the berries are dried out very clean. Those grapes increases the concentration of this wine, which is fermented dry to off-dry and shows its full potential after about 6 to 8 years. The wines are planted by my father with the expectation that I would one day be able to capitalize on the greatness of the site. He couldn't those days. We turn to the warmest and oldest wine-growing sub-area of Ayla viticulture. Already 2000 years ago, the Romans observed the melting snow in spring. They planted grape vines in the places free of ice. These 3 bars were part of this earliest farming. They are south exposed and just a few meters from the bank of the River Saar. The lowest part here benefits from centuries of weathering of the higher rock. In this area, which is meaningfully called Untersten Berg, so the foot of the hill, translated word by word, the most finely disrupted floor elements accumulate. The strength of this terroir is most evident in warm and dry years, and the results are dry tasting wines with a lot of creaminess, smoky notes, and salty impressions. In 1956, my grandfather Peter replanted the filet parcel in the middle section of the cup with a 68% inclination. Here we find the steepest and warmest part of the whole slope. The wines are growing sunny and with perfect water supply. Correspondingly ripe are the grapes, and with an age of over 60 years, wines have found a positive balance of moderate yields and quality. Delicate and fruity with a strong minerality, the cup represents a classical dry Saar Grand Cru. A lot of wind blows on the summit and cools down the grapes. At the same time, little water is available to the vines in the stony ground. Very slow growth leads to an extremely exciting interplay of great concentration of the old wines and weightless coolness. Sturn is regularly fermented off-dry. Of course, the Ayl Cup also has an east side, characterized by the first shafts of sunlight by the morning sun and the proximity to the water. This is the origin of the relatively mild and fruity barrels number 1 and barrel number 3. In the south of the village of Ayl, directly on the river, we are cultivating a special plot of 107 years old wines on really incredibly steep cliff here. The secret of the spicy tastes of salt, curry and pepper lies in the unique topography. Hot air is rising from the river and the slate rocks, and that's leading to extreme overripeness here in that part of the Grand Cru, and at the same time a strong wind cools the upper vines here. Both together make the dry GG Schonfelds particularly unique. We fly to our youngest Grand Cru, the Lambertskirch, which was only planted in 2010. Planted on an ancient Celtic cult site, this mini vineyard is the cradle of very fine cabinets or elegant Spätlese, which are regularly among the best of our estate. At the end of our vineyard tour, we fly to the only mountain whose wines are not on slate but on gravel and sand. The Pfalz is a warm peninsula within the Saar, flanked by the old arm of the river Saar and a new-built canal. The soil here consists exclusively of old river sediments piled up during the ice ages. As the wild water of the Saar made its way through the valley, the steep slope Pfalz was left over like a dune on the shore. While the roots grow up to 10 meters vertically into the ground, no mother rock can be found under the surface. The especially warm vineyard and the medoc-like ground brings a great etheric spiciness to the Riesling. All wines are fermented spontaneously with their own wild yeast in the cellar of our winery in the historical center of Ayl. Here we welcome you to a tasting.